Welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Screen, where we go through, actually, we're going through right now. It's going to be other campaigns in the future, most likely, but we are going through The Secret of the Dragon Emperor, the premier campaign that comes with the box set for Dragonbane, giving our opinions, our thoughts, our regrets, because we've run it and or played it. However, this one, I will caveat that I have not run it. I have not played it. Joey has run it, so he is going to be taking the lead on this one. Of course, I'll give my commentary. I have read it. This is also the one that a lot of people think is the best starting adventure for the campaign.
Yeah.
Not Reader Mound, as the book says.
And not just reading it online, though. They told us themselves in the comments few videos back.
Oh, you mean other people who've run it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they think this is the ideal.
Yeah, I wish I would have run it so I'd have a better opinion, but regardless, I'll still give my opinions as usual. So yeah, let's kick this thing off and talk about what it is and what the situation is.
So the situation, I'm going to read it because there's actually kind of a lot going on in this one. So during Eladane's reign, sorcerers would come to Troll Spire to gaze at the night sky and catch falling stars. From these star stones, they extracted strong metals and bright, beautiful jewels, which were used for all sorts of magical purposes. So right off the bat, that's kind of a really cool detail. I don't know if this is a detail that comes from all the way back to 1980s, Drakkar Octomaner. But if not, I get heavy Elden Ring vibes from that because, you know, they have star magic basically in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Which is cool. There's other people that have done that too.
It is a very fantastical approach, catching falling stars. I feel like there was a missed opportunity for a romance subplot with this adventure.
Yeah.
With all this stargazing involved.
And I was surprised to find that like magic, like shooting stars being keys to magic is a more common, I wouldn't say it's a trope, but it's more common than you think. Because I remember years ago, I thought I had this epiphany, like this brilliant idea. Every time they cast spells, it actually uses up a star in the sky. But there's, you know, billions of stars. Mm-hmm. So wizards think magic will never run dry. And then that was an idea that I thought of like before internet was heavy use. And then I was like, oh, let me look this up on the internet. And like, yeah, there's a lot of people who thought like, there's no original thought. There really is. You think you got a cool idea. You're in the 7th grade. You're like, yeah, this is genius. It's not. And it hurts. I just want to say that it hurts. But anyway.
That's okay. I remember those a lot of times when same thing when people are writing stories or books, this has been done. And I think for any of those of you out there who are worried that your ideas are unoriginal, just the piece of advice I've heard was no one will write it like you will. So regardless if the core of the idea is it's the sort of tropey or been used before,
right?
You'll bring your own spin to it. You will.
No one will write it as shittily as I do.
or that. Yeah, I guess we're that.
Yeah. See, well, just real quick aside, you guys, we're not even minutes in, and we do the tangents. You love it. In my home setting, where the magic was the stars were, like, you know, when I was younger, I felt like you had to have a creation story for your homes. Like, I went big scale. I started small, but it grew so big, and all the stars in space. In my home setting, they're actually like the floating magical drops of blood from when like the two powerful beings fought in the void space.
Oh.
And his blood, cool. the guy who was killed, his blood made up the stars, droplets of it, and his body became like the world that you live on.
That's pretty cool.
That's why in my home setting I always mention like there's a goddess. She's not really a goddess. She's just a really powerful being. But everybody worshipped her as a goddess because she took her husband's corpse and recycled it to make the world. And then she just created demigods, which were her kids, to like help dress up the world because she thought it would be neat. She was like, just, I'm at peace. The big evil thing, I trapped the big evil thing in like the moon. So another cool original idea I thought I had was like sometimes the moon would turn like a violet purple. And when that light hit the world, that was when demons could transport themselves to the world. I'm like, that's awesome. And then Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did the same fucking thing. And I'm like, well, all right, that's out the window.
Yeah.
Everybody's just going to tell me I took it from there now. But anyway, tangent over. Back to the episode. When the Dragon Realm was ravaged by internal strife, a vault was built in the tower's basement to protect precious artifacts. But when the Empire finally collapsed, the tower also fell into disrepair and was eventually forgotten. Magical rose bushes were all that lived and thrived there. Some years ago, a troll named HARGA'S settled in the tower to learn more about healing herbs, poisons, and potions. Unfortunately, the tower was already home to someone else, an angry flock of harpies roosting on the roof. The troll and the harpies have been sworn enemies ever since. After a number of brazen thefts, HARGA has barricaded herself in the tower and set up a few traps to scare off intruders. Troll Spire is a possible location for one of 4 pieces of the dragon statuette, which in that case is found in the crypt, location number 8.
Another tangent, but this is part of the Adventure Archive lore. The first game I ran on the channel was Merkborg, of course, and it was Graves Left Wanting. And one of the player characters was named Harga. So
cool.
Yeah. Tangent over.
See, that wasn't really a tangent. That was just an aside. You know, we got to categorize these. A good tangent lasted too long, like mine did.
Yeah.
See, now this right here, this is a tangent now. Now we're
now it's a tangent. Okay.
Anyway,
that makes sense. All right. I guess we'll get into the locations. I'll take the first one, I guess. Unless there's any commentary you want to talk about having run this already. Or,
I'll add it after.
Before. Okay. We'll add it after. Okay. The first location you arrive at is the Red Gate. Before you stands a crumbling tower from a bygone age. The ruins are wrapped in a crimson and black cloak of roses and sharp thorns, and the sweet scent of flowers lies heavy on your senses. The entrance is blocked by a massive gate of red oak. The tower has a few windows, but none at ground level. So this immediately gives you a cool, hey, I'm going to climb that damn wall. I'm not going through the front door. And speaking of which, let's talk about these roses. So the roses bloom all year round, nourished by magical energies. They really, really, really leaned into the magical aspects in this one, for sure. Not that I feel like most of the setting or the locations do, but this one definitely even more. So you must make a con roll each round you come in or within 1 meter of one of the roses, or you become dazed on a failure. The effect can be avoided by holding your breath, which is funny because that's like usually drowning rules, right? It says rules book 53.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it seems like you wouldn't know until you smelled it. You'd have to almost like fail the first time.
Right.
To want to hold your breath, because presumably you're going to keep getting more conditions if you fail. So anyway, there are occupants. If the player characters peer toward the top of the tower and succeed with an awareness roll, they see movement on the roof and the windows of the laboratory. So that's the harpies, and then I guess presumably Harga, the troll, working in her lab. And to the north, actually, let me show you the map really quick. I forgot. I should scroll down so you guys can see what's going on here. So this is it right here. So we're out here at the entrance, the red oak door. Inside, we'll get to that briefly. There's a big toad, as you can see. But then, wait, let me get back to my spot here. Where did I go? Okay, so this is going, the door to the north tower in the north is locked from the inside. However, it's noted here that it's got HP. That's a lot of HP for a door, man. That's going to take a while. And armor rating of 12 on top of it. And then up, though, as mentioned, you can see the windows. You can roll acrobatics, and if you succeed, you can climb to the rose bushes to the kitchen, number 4 on the second floor. The climber is exposed to the scent, however, of the roses and takes D6 piercing damage from the sharp thorns. I like that too. So there's a consequence. It is not possible to climb higher than the second floor. So 2 entrances, the front door if you want to beat it down because it's locked from the inside, or if you have some other kind of creative way to get through, or you can climb up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how your players entered this through the red gate?
I remember one of them being rather clever in using a burlap sack. They were like, "Can I cover my head with this sack?" And it didn't make him immune to it. What I did was I gave him a boon.
Yeah. I would rule the same.
So, yeah,
that's cool.
So that was neat.
But you don't remember how they got in? Did they beat the door down?
I was holding back like a sneeze and a burp at the same time.
Oh, damn.
It was very painful just now.
You should have let it go. That would have sounded interesting. I've never heard a sneeze burp.
My eyeballs would have popped out of my head probably. There's no way I can allow that to happen. But yes, so they did the climbing up method.
Okay. Makes sense.
They definitely were not busting down a 40 HP door with 12 armor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They really don't. It's like they don't want you to go in that way. I don't see you going through that way. I mean, you'd have to do 13 damage at least to do any damage. That's not easy to do.
There's also no real consequence of breaking the door down. I guess you might alert the toad that's in the main room. But
right.
I like it more when, yes, you can get in. You can't lockpick it. You can break it down. But it doesn't note here that there's a consequence. So I think what I would do is have this toad, like, just when they finally knock it down and the dust settles, this giant ass toad is right there, waiting to eat them right off the bat.
Yeah.
And maybe even be like more of an ambush kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while for everybody to be like hitting this door, damage wise.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they definitely did the climb up, which we'll get to what goes on up there.
Yeah, after the random events.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll cover the random events really quick. So 1 through 4, nothing happens. And this one's different. So usually it's been a D12.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a D8. So 1 through 4, nothing happens. 5 is falling rock. Rocks fall, everyone dies. Not real. Take 2d4 bludgeoning damage. 6 is spiders everywhere. We've seen this one before. Basically, they get hit with a swarm of spiders. They take some damage. Armor doesn't help them. And they also suffer a condition of their choice. So these little spiders are actually, like, they don't do a whole lot of damage. I'd say getting a condition is worse than taking damage. For sure.
100%.
And then number 7, we have HARGA'S warning. They'll suddenly hear a loud booming voice from the upper floors of the tower. And it says, "I can hear you down there. Get out of my house or I'll turn you all into toads." It's HARGA or HARGA. HARGA. I don't know why I keep wanting to say HARGA because she looks like a hag. But it is HARGA who is trying to scare away the intruders. So this could be a good Scooby-Doo episode for sure.
Yeah.
And then number 8 is a voice from the past. Ghostly whispers from the age of the Dragon Empire fill the room. All player characters must roll will to resist fear. Anyone who succeeds with a languages roll understands what the voice is saying. Over the moon, underground, fall the stars.
Which is important in this adventure.
Yes.
That little mantra, which we'll get to.
And I'd like to point out that I really like how consistent Free League is with using roles appropriately, like where they think you would use them at. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of time, like languages role gets brought up actually quite a good bit for different things, especially when dealing with the past and you're trying to comprehend an ancient language.
Myths and legends too, a lot when you notice.
Yeah, myths and legends. Yep.
Sculptures, statues, weird things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just appreciate the consistency because as a longtime collector and actually still present collector of, say, Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition, and now officially 5.5, they kind of lose their grip on it a few times here and there, different books. I guess it's just like, they really should have put, a suggestion of this check here. And there's plenty of times where they don't, and I'm like, they could have used that. I think that would have been useful.
It's a good reminder. I feel like Free League does it. They do it often. Usually, too often, but I think it's good for beginning GMs because a lot of times they'll call for a spot hidden, for instance, or something like that. When it's like, really, I mean, it's kind of over rolling, but I think it's a great way. Yeah, it's a great way to teach you as a new GM though to like. Just by repetition to become sort of think on your feet and say, okay, well, when I encounter stuff like this, it's this kind of roll.
Yeah.
But they're also very clear most of the time about how, or if they say they're looking in a specific area, don't roll, which I think is a good thing because I feel like 5e still is just like, they love rolling for everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's built. The philosophy anyway, at least in my experience.
And I would say like them using stuff too much could be kind of innocuous because it's easier for a veteran GM to just say, I don't need that than it is for a new one to know what they should do. So
yeah, no, 100%. I'm not knocking them for it. I'm just saying from my perspective, like, sometimes like, wow, really? Like all those roles. But then I think about it like, well, imagine somebody coming to this game for the first time or role-playing games for the first time in general. It's a helpful reminder of how to do things. But it could be detrimental as well, though, because you could end up in the realm of, oh, I got to roll every time this happens. And then you get that in the back of your mind, and then you're back in the 5e world again.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
But I will say I do appreciate it 100%. I mean, that's one cool thing about GMing, and I know this is another tangent, is I'm still learning. I've been running games for a long time, and every session I pick something else. I'm like, oh yeah, look at how they reacted, or this, or I'll go back and watch an old clip and say, man, I should have done this, or even other pieces of advice online. I find it's always cool how you're continually getting better at it.
Yeah, I'm always trying to improve. We talked about it before. I don't know if we talked about it here on the channel, like in a video, but there's plenty of times where I'll give really good, strong, solid advice and then completely not use it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that's 99% of YouTube channels I've noticed, because there are, to me, it feels like that's why a lot of these information channels don't have their actual plays, because they know they're probably not that great. And the ones I have seen, I feel like I'm rarely impressed with the GMing skills, even though they're really great at telling you how to run the game. I never watch one of their things and go like, oh man, especially Matt Colville. So Matt Colville, I've watched some of his draw steel stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, man, you're kind of a shitty GM, dude. Like, I don't know. It crawls to a drag. So one thing I've picked up, and I think this is like universal GM advice, keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. If your players are being quiet and indecisive, start talking, start describing things, start saying things happen, start moving around the table and trying to prod them into action, because that's, I think, where things really get awkward, is when everything just grinds to a halt. And
are you bringing up that example because you noticed that in Draw Steel?
Yeah, most games I've watched, I feel like the only ones who like, of course, like Critical Role, right, where it's more of a theatrical show than an actual game. He knows they do it really well, where there's not dead air. Granted, when we're streaming, it's more important because people are actually watching us, but also around the table, like I think you're going to engage the players more when you like make sure that there's not dead air. So
Gotcha. I was wondering because I actually remember, I haven't watched Matt Colville in a very long time, but I remember a video of his where he was talking about that exact problem. And I think the title of the episode was Orcs Attack. It's like, all right, if they're too busy, either they're being too quiet or they're going on and on about something that's not important for too long, Orcs Attack. And it's not bad advice. It works. I use that.
Yeah, it's not bad advice at all, but also like I think there's other ways to do it than throw like a combat encounter. But again, it's easier said than done. A lot of people say how to run things and then
they forget to do it.
You watch their videos and you're like, man, what the heck? This is boring as hell. Anyway, tangent over. I bet you guys didn't think we were going to talk about draw, steal, and 5e in this episode, did you? But anyway, don't forget leaving the tower. So if the player characters leave the tower to take a long rest, roll a d6 per shift for table. So again, I like this too. And we've brought this up numerous times and how these are like random events are not exclusively for the adventure location, the adventure site.
Right.
Even like a Ritter Mound has some very unique ones, whereas this one's just directing you to the rule book. But actually, one thing I want to bring up, and I know I brought it up before we get onto the hallway, the second location, in that a lot of people say this is a great starting adventure, but I mentioned that it's very far away from your home base.
Yeah.
So while maybe mechanically it's good, it doesn't make sense. So for instance, like when I ran this campaign the first time, the first thing the players did after like sort of gathering themselves and getting their bearings, they look to the closest locations to outskirt, right? I think that's just logically what we do. Troll Spire is way the F out there. Yeah, so it's kind of a weird, I feel like pacing wise is kind of odd to say, okay, first adventure, let's do some traveling. And we all know Dragonbane travel rules aren't super interesting. So I would say if you do that, if you want this to be your first adventure, I would homebrew some locations along the way. So there's not just the random encounters that are in the book, but some of the amazing little landmarks that are on the map. I think I would do that. So it feels like a journey to get there with these little micro adventures. But anyway, hallway. We'll talk about the hallway, which is location 2, and I will flash back to the map so you guys can see what's going on. It's kind of weird that they called it a hallway because it's like this big room with debris, and there's like a toad over here, a staircase to the north. But let me get back to the description here. So the hallway. The hallway is full of rubble and debris from the collapsed walls and upstairs floor of the tower. Large flies are buzzing lazily in the still, humid air. Unless you knock the door down, like I was talking about earlier, and the toad should be there. Ambrosius, the toad, HARGA'S guard toad, Ambrosius is hiding in his nest among the stones in the western corner, which I showed you earlier. So he's going to attack them if they examine the rubble. So he's not one to be reasoned with. He's not one to be tricked. He's just going to attack, which is, I guess, kind of a good first encounter. You can roll a d6. So we noted earlier how, depending on the location, sometimes the die will be different. So we have a total of 8 results, but you're only going to roll a d6 right here. So this is one of those times where it's escalating. Well, it's starting small and it's going to build up. And then we have the staircase, as I mentioned. South is the doorway out, and then it's bolted, but it can be opened from the inside, as noted. But then west, under the toad's nest in the western corner, is a hatch down to the tower's crypt. So this is another way to get down if you manage to get over there and fight this toad. And the player characters will find it if they look in the exact spot or search the room. See, that's what we were just talking about. With a spot hidden, meaning if they are looking there, or if they just say casually, I want to search the room, make them roll spot hidden. And on the hatch is an ornate symbol, Elidane's dragon symbol, with a Myths and Legends roll can reveal. Again, it's funny how we're talking about all this, and like this first area is reinforcing it. And an iron ring to open it with, which requires a strength roll with a bane. The hatch can also be smashed open, so it also has HP and armor rating of 10. And beneath the hatch is a short spiral staircase leads down to the iron door location 7, which is much later in the game. So it is
Yeah.
kind of cool. I like there's this, what's it called? Jaquang the dungeon, I believe, right? Where you should always have multiple entrances to the dungeon and multiple exits. I feel like this is kind of like that. Granted, you're not exiting or entering, but you are, which I guess would have been the windows in the front door, but you're actually not putting somebody on a linear path.
Yeah.
To
It's similar
to
enough.
the end game. Yeah. But that is it for the hallway.
Let's scroll down just a little bit and let's talk about Ambrosius, the toad.
Yeah, we should.
He has a stat block.
You're right.
So little mini bestiary boys episode here for you. It says the horned toad of Ambrosius is the size of a dog. He's a lot smaller than I initially thought he was going to be when I ran it. And the result of HARGA'S experiments, he guards against intruders, but also takes care of the flies that were interfering with the troll's magical research. Ambrosius keeps still and quiet. Only when he has eaten can he be heard croaking contentedly.
That name is so close. Was it Ambrosius or was it Ambrosia, the dog in Labyrinth? Remember? The mount. Remember the dog that rode the other dog, basically?
Yeah.
Ambrosia. He talked like that or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, you guys let us know in the comments. I feel like that might be a little homage, maybe. I don't know.
Could be. Was that the dog's name?
Pretty sure.
Probably.
Yeah, the sheepdog, that he was riding.
Yeah. Because it was Sir Didymus, I think, was the name.
Yeah, that's it. I'm pretty sure it was. I like how this Ambrosius will play dead, though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
If they lose half their HP, he rolls over on his back and plays dead. He attacks again when the opportunity arises. So he's not a stupid toad.
No.
Yeah. I guess we won't go through all the monster attacks, but I really appreciate again how this isn't just a, hey, see page X in the monster manual or the bestiary. Like it's its own unique stat block.
It is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the second floor. If you make your way up the staircase here to the north.
Area 3, abandoned residence. The room is dominated by a huge fireplace and an ancient table of red oak. On the table are 4 clay jugs and 2 wooden plates. The floor is covered with broken furniture and other debris. There are 4 doorways out of the room, one in each direction. So, looking at the map really quick.
Yeah. Okay. I'll scroll down to the map. I'm cracking up that there's like basically a Looney Tunes gag at the very first thing with a rake, but
yes.
Like what the heck, man? That's kind of weird.
Yes.
Whatever.
So when you Harga, the troll, she has placed a rake among the debris on the floor.
Yeah.
Hoping someone will step on it. So basically, you're walking into the room. It's basically the first player that enters the room triggers the trap, and they try to make the evade. If they fail, they take D6 bludgeoning damage, and it is literally stepping on the rake, flipping up the handle, smacking yourself in the face with it.
Yeah, it's such a weird gag. Like if I were a troll guarding this tower, I think I would get a little more creative than putting a rake for someone to trip. And
I mean, if that happened to me, I'd be like, the hell with this and walk right back out. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be in pain. I'd be mad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anything to do with it anymore.
Like Mike Tyson says, like, you always have a plan, right? Until you get hit in the face.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yes. The genius he is. The wisdom that flows. Skeleton trap. So the table setting is a trap. There's a thin rope strung from the jugs and plates to a sack in the ceiling. Basically, if the player mess with anything on the table, the plates or the jugs, a skeleton armed with shield and scimitar comes crashing down. Everyone in the room must make a will roll to resist fear. The skeleton itself is held together by strings and completely harmless.
It's
So
a
another
fake, yeah.
gag.
Yeah, this is Dragonbane is mirth and mayhem. This is mirth. Sure.
Yeah, this is the mirth. Well, like, there was a reason why I said this one is a good Scooby-Doo episode, if you want
totally.
it. It's very cartoony. But it's completely harmless, but let the players draw initiative anyway.
I like
so this
that.
is so deviant of whoever designed this trap. So you let them draw and describe how they respond to this threat. Have them draw cards and describe. The skeleton does nothing. The trap can be avoided if the player characters examine the table or ceiling and succeed with the spot hidden. But I love that. And I remember when I ran this, it was funny with the skeleton trap. Because they messed with the plate. They thought the plates and the jugs were like a puzzle. They're like, oh, we got to figure this out. They're like, I want to examine, like, do the plates have patterns on them? Do the jugs have a symbol on them anywhere? And I'm like, I don't know. You can't really tell by just looking at them. So like, all right, I'll pick up the plate. And then the skeleton drops from the ceiling. And they're like, oh, God.
Well, what's great about it, too, is that, mechanically as a GM, when you say, hey, draw initiative, like the players automatically think they're going to be in a fight. So it's like you're tricking them in a meta way. It's not just the characters, but it's the players themselves. And so the second somebody hits this skeleton and it falls apart, and sees strings hanging down, that's a great gag. So I would honestly keep this in mind, GMs out there, for other traps like this. Granted, you don't want to make every trap a gag, but if you want to put something out, like I like the idea of, hey, draw initiative, whatever it is. Like maybe it's an illusion too, right? It doesn't have to be like a skeleton on strings. It could be some kind of magical illusion, and you think you're going to get attacked. But
that'll just make the illusion feel more real. But I remember having particular fun with this one because, like, I'm a very animated GM when I'm running in person. I remember when I did this one, like when they picked up the plate and the jugs, like they started messing with them. I didn't do what I kind of typically do now, where it's like, oh, you pick up the plate and then you hear this noise from above. When they did that, I just took both arms and just slammed them on the table really loud. And they all were like, what the fuck? And I was like, a skeleton crashes onto the table before you, scimitar and shield in hand, lying on its back, draw for initiative. And they're like, does this mean we have an like, do we attack first? Do we have, they were like, he's on his back, right? He's prone. And I'm like, seems that way. And then is basically, they were just all hitting the shit out of the skeleton. And then it got to the skeleton's turn. And I was like, it's just a skeleton with strings.
Oh, so you didn't allow that? Like, I think what I would have done on the first hit is make it like fall apart or something.
No, I let them all do their little surprise round on it, and then let them know it was all for nothing.
That's funny.
Somebody even wasted magic willpower. They wasted willpower on it. Yeah, so the trap was, it was great. They were pissed. But anyway, it does say to roll for a random event here. I didn't do that. They did do a full stretch in there. I think no, not this room. Never mind. So I didn't need to do that. But like it said, it has 4 doors. North has stairs leading to HARGA'S laboratory. East is a door to a privy. The stench is palpable. It takes a con roll to avoid being dazed. South is a slightly open door to the kitchen. When the door opens, a bucket is emptied over the person opening it, and it is full of itching powder that HARGA has made.
Stuff. It's like a Home Alone kind of trap situation.
Yeah, and of course, a successful spot hidden. you would be able to detect it if you did that before opening the door. And then the west is a door to a simple bedroom, now empty and deserted.
Yeah.
So that was the abandoned residence, which was a very fun room during my run of this game.
Right here, so you guys can see. And then we'll move on to, I guess 4 is just this next little area right here.
Yeah, it's a small area
to the south. It's the kitchen. What was probably once the kitchen has been stripped of all utensils. An open window is covered with red rose bushes, and a sweet stench invades your nostrils. So here it's just pretty much you roll a d8 on the table. So again, that's higher than the d6 as previously. And then the door is ajar to the abandoned residence to the north. A bucket is placed on top of the door. That is the itching powder one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not there anymore if you're on the inside of this room examining it.
So that's pretty much 4.
Yep. Go ahead and take number 5.
Take 5. All right. So 5, just so you guys can see it on the screen here, we are in HARGA'S lab. So more debris. Looks like there's some kind of concoction in the middle. Let me read the description and get there. So 5. The room is cluttered with bottles, flasks, pots, jugs, mortars, and pestles, ladles, dried herbs, and glass beakers containing parts of various monsters, everything you could possibly need to make all sorts of strange potions. Smoke from the fire at the center of the room rises through several cracks in the ceiling. Up there, you can see the open sky through red and black roses. I like that visual. That's a really cool, cool feature, environmentally anyway. So we have a little note here on meeting Harga. So it just notes that she defends herself, is attacked, but she doesn't really want to fight. But she's going to offer the players a deal. There are great treasures in the crypt beneath, and you'll recall that is under the toad in the very bottom level. And she can take them there in exchange for a small favor. There's a pack of screeching harpies on the roof, and Harga wants them to drive them away or kill them. And the harpies have stolen a key to the crypt. The player characters retrieve it. Harga promises to show them the way to the treasure. So if I remember correctly, and we'll get there, I'm sure, but I think she's just trying to like let the players do the dirty work and then get it herself, right?
Yeah.
So here we go back to the Overmoon Underground. During the conversation, Harga hums an old verse. Overmoon underground, follow the stars. The player characters may have heard it before because of the random encounter number 8. So don't forget. I would honestly I know a lot of these are random, but I would recommend using it early just for narrative reasons, because that would be a cool, reminder to the players. But if the player characters ask about the verse, she waves it off and says it's just an old rhyme that got stuck in her head. So that's going to really reinforce that, hey, these words are important.
Yeah.
So noted here as consequences, if they kill or drive away at least half the harpies and find the key, Harga keeps her word and shows them to the hatch in the hallway. If they killed Ambrosius, Harga gets a bit surly but does not seem too concerned. But what Harga knows but does not tell them is that the crypt is a trap. There are dangerous undead down there, and it takes cunning to get out. Harga hopes that the player characters will die in the crypt. Yeah, here we go. So she can come back later and grab the treasure herself. Combat? Question mark. They might just kill Harga, as noted here, as many players tend to they're going to see a troll and be like, attack. But in that case, it becomes much harder for them to find the crypt and make it back alive. So they may not find it, number 1. And number 2, they may not find the key to it if they don't go to the roof, even though it's been somewhat foreshadowed. You can even in this room see the cracks of the sky and the roses and stuff. But just something to note as a GM, because one thing you don't want to do is ever get the player stuck. So I guess I'll ask you this now, I'll put you on the spot. If they did kill Harga, what do you think you would do if the players, okay, what now? What do you think you would have them do? Because granted, they don't know where the key is. Unless if they didn't investigate the downstairs area, the hallway, to find the hatch door, what do you think you would do?
I think I would slam the book closed like slide it across the table, knocking everybody's miniatures off, and like releasing it and letting it slam into the wall and say, well, there goes the game.
Yeah, you guys broke the game. God damn it.
That's probably what I would do. But I don't, I'm not sure what I would do. They didn't attack her. It's a good question.
I think for me, it depends on what happened with the toad at the bottom.
Yeah.
Did they sneak by the toad? Did they fight the toad? I feel like if they fight the toad, they're going to find the hatch. But that still doesn't... Granted, you could break it down if you want to, but that doesn't really give you any kind of... You lose the clues, I guess, the over, moon, under, unless you hear it from the whispers and the ghosts, I guess. So...
Well, I kind of, in a way, I messed up and semi-cheated the game, like the intention. When they did fight the toad, they killed the toad.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember sometimes, like I'll read the thing and then I'll make my own little notes, but I don't jot down everything, like all the details.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for that section, I remembered the toad, and then he's kind of guarding the crypt door. But I kind of forgot to include in my little quick note taking that, like, you need the key and all that, right? Or you need to use spot hidden to even know that the door is there. So when they killed the toad and they were like kind of catching their breath, I'm like, you hear like a, I described how they could hear like a droplet sound. It sounded like something was splashing. They're like, what is that? So then I I led them to use spot hidden, but actually used awareness, I believe, instead of spot hidden. And they followed the sound. The toad's blood was spilling and it was dripping down through the trap door and it was splashing.
You know what I think I would do now that I'm thinking about it? That so if they did kill the troll, I would make it to where the sounds of battle would have attracted the harpies, and maybe they would break through the ceiling.
And the key would fall?
Maybe the key would be in the rubble if they fight the harpies or something like that. Yeah, I think that's how I would kind of keep it forward. And it makes narrative sense too, right? Maybe these harpies are hungry and, the first sign of more food, they're going to come down and try to do it, I guess. Something like that. Maybe the key doesn't fall down, but maybe it exposes that area and the players are like, ooh, I want to check it out. Or I think making it fall down in battle would be kind of cool too among the...
Maybe... I wish I had thought of this because it would have been cooler back then. But like if you're saying where the harpies come through, we know that from the bestiary that the harpies like shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe one of them's wearing the key like a necklace. It's got a necklace of random bits, but then you can see the key also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think that's how I would solve it. So there's an idea for you GMs out there if your players happen. Well, we gave you a couple of ideas in case they come in. Just rush Harga, destroy her. But it notes here, where's her little thingy at? Her little stat block here. She's small and old. So keep that in mind. I would say when you play her, because I think we inherently, when we think of a troll, we think of this big, hulking, nasty creature. So make sure to describe her accurately. The artwork's cool, but I don't know if it fully conveys scale. So I would just make sure that you do that for the player. So maybe she feels less intimidating.
Yeah.
Let's see here. She's handled as a regular NPC as well. So she doesn't have monster attacks typically.
Like the troll does.
Yeah, exactly. And she can sell potions too and teach them magic. So yeah, she doesn't want to fight as noted here. So keep that in mind. But she will defend herself. So if the players do rush her, maybe, wait, hold on a minute or something. I don't know. See what happens. Don't railroad it though. Just don't do that. Give them options, figure out. Yeah. Figure out, I think on your feet. Okay. I guess we'll move on. 2, the Harpie's Nest.
Well, no, we're still on number 5.
Did I skip? Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, it's confusing me because these maps are like in. There we go. Wait, I got to scroll down. That's my problem. No, I got to scroll up. I was scrolling down to the map. That's what happened.
I see.
That's what threw me off. So we covered Harga. We didn't talk about her lab locations. That's what we got to do. Okay. Yeah. So of course Harga is here. And she is scared. Okay, so there you go. I should have read that first. So when they arrive, she hides. So she is not going to charge them. She's not going to speak up like I just told you to do. So scratch that. Don't do it. But if they stay a while and start poking around, she makes herself known. What are you doing at my house? Leave at once or I'll make you disappear for good. So she is threatening, though.
She is threatening. Verbally.
Yeah. So be careful with that, I guess, because that could incite violence.
Yeah.
With most players, I feel like they're going to worry she's going to cast a spell or something. But she also has potions and other items. Let's see. They find doses of an herbal concoction, which gives you a boon on rolls for resisting disease. That's very valuable. 3 doses each of lethal, paralyzing, and sleeping poison, all with potency 12, also valuable. 4 doses of healing potions. Hell yeah. 2d6 HP. 2 doses of potion with the same effect on the user as Elevate spell, power level 1, an hourglass, and parchment, a quill, 5 rations of food, and Harga's grimoire, which contains all her spells. So this is a hell of a find. If you kill her, I guess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she can sell you some stuff and teach you some spells. And then we just have the stairs to the north, leading down to the abandoned residence.
Yep.
And then there's the hole in the ceiling leading to the Harpies.
Yes. So, and here we go. The Harpies' nest. So, section 6. The top of the tower lies open to the sky. The sweet stench of roses is almost overwhelming. Huge black and red rose bushes cling to the walls. In the middle, you see a shallow pool of dirty rainwater with big, dark feathers floating on the surface. So we can see on this map, they actually illustrated the feathers floating in the center of the fountain here. For what's going on the map, roses. Up here, it is impossible to avoid the scent of the roses. And mind you, now this is the way that my players came in. So they kind of climbed to the top and they were doing this stuff first.
Oh, you let them climb to the top because it said you can only, I guess you could keep climbing, but it says the only entrance is the second floor.
Right, the second floor. But they wanted to keep climbing and I'm like, who the hell am I to just stop? You want to climb to the top? Climb to the top. But you got to keep making those con rolls, climbing up and staying up here. But there's the Harpies. There are 3 of them, and they have names: Thistle, Prickle, and Thorn. So to a little aside, this box here, it says the Harpies roosting atop the tower are the 3 sisters, Thistle, Prickle, and Thorn, cunning creatures who use their home as a lookout when searching for prey. They can survive next to these rose bushes safely. I guess they just don't make con checks or anything, and they happily bathe in the pool of rainwater and perfume themselves with rose nectar. They are immune to the scent of roses. They have stats as Harpies as per the rule book. If 2 of them are killed, the last one will retreat to the highest point of the tower and may attack again.
Isn't this the highest point of the tower, though?
I don't remember that.
I mean, it's the only other location you can go. It's the top.
Yeah, I don't remember that being that way, but I guess I think this is, right?
Yeah, unless I misread, but I mean, this is the roof, right? There's a
yeah. It says the top of the tower lies open to the sky, so there's nothing else above
the highest point of the tower. I wonder if they. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little confusing for me. I could see it if, for instance, It was my version where the harpies burst through,
Right.
and then that one flees back to the top. But if you're already up here,
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Let us know if you guys get it in the comments.
So they have the nest. Harpies have their nest deep in the rose bushes. Finding it requires a spot hidden roll. So this isn't one of those times where if you're there looking in the right area, it says to give it to them. Otherwise, if they do a spot hidden, this one requires it. Each roll takes one round and exposes the player characters to the scent of the roses. The nest contains the key to the iron door and valuables equivalent to 3 treasure cards. So
question, decent. Another GM question for you. If all of the players fail their spot hidden, what next? Because you never want to have anybody not be able to continue.
Yeah. I think in that case, they didn't fail it, if I remember correctly. I've run this one more than once, and I have the one that I had the most fun with in my mind. The other ones did it kind of normally, like expected, where they went to, what was it, area 4, where they started in the kitchen because they climbed up to the 2nd floor and started there. But I don't think they messed it up. But had they messed it up, me knowing my players at the time, they would have talked to Harga, and Harga would have just told them where the key is, like she was intended to, kind of deal, most likely. It's probably how that would have gone down.
I guess, because you don't need the key, right? You can break down, you can break through. So I think for me, I probably would leave it hidden, I guess. And then just see what happens. Because that's one thing, GMs listening, it took me, and I think I've talked about this on other episodes, but when we write something, I feel like even more so when we write it, because it's more precious to us when we write an adventure. We always think the players need to do all of the stuff we planned, and maybe the way we planned it. So don't feel bad if this adventure even ends up as they say, fuck it, we didn't find anything, and they leave. Like, don't view that as you were a bad GM or it's a loss, because that's the beauty of role-playing games, is that you don't, it's not a video game where there is a certain way to do things and one or two solutions, right? It's like, no, I mean, you could leave this tower. You could have another adventuring party, maybe some of Maledukes, they've come here, they find it. I don't know. Like, there's all kinds of things you could do. But again, you don't need, if they quote unquote fail, then don't worry about it. Just move on.
Yeah. And I mean, it'd be kind of neat, because if they do fail, then you could just say that Maleduk is the one who later found the piece, or
maybe she has a piece of the statue. Yeah.
Yeah. The weird duck guy. I always forget his name. But the mallard who has cultists, thugs with him.
Quasimund.
Yeah. You can later have him do a little analog where he's like, yes, I found this at the troll spire. And then the players would be like, damn, we didn't find it there.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
You could do stuff like that. Now, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, if they did not pass the spot hidden, so they didn't know the key was there, and they killed Harga, then yeah, they just probably wouldn't find the key then.
And that's okay. Just remember, it's a living, breathing world. Not everything has to be found. Other people might find it, or it may never be found, and that's just the way it is.
Yep. But that is the Harpies nest.
The Harpies. Okay, so we're moving down to 7, the iron door. Where's the map for that? Oh, it's right here. So this is where the trapdoor leads to, from the ground floor.
Yep.
As a reminder. And let me find my place again. Okay, it's a black iron door blocking the way. The lock is shaped like a stylized dragon's head. So speaking of the iron door, it's made of iron. Shocker. But it fell from the sky, so this is like star iron. It can be opened with a key and the Harpie's nest, of course. But the lock is magical and must be dispelled with power level 3. This is another reason why I feel like it's probably not a great starter adventure.
Right, yeah.
You got to have this spell. You got to be able to cast it at power level 3. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Free Lake didn't intend for this. Now, granted, you know, if you have the key, it's no big deal, but, you know, you can't pick the lock. And I don't think you can break it down, right? Oh, no, it has 100 HP, armor 20. That's the one thing. So while I do love that everything in Dragonbane has hit points, I feel like you don't want to sit there and, like, what is the consequence of rolling damage for that long to chip away at 100 hit points? So I'd always think of it that way. If your players are knocking something down, make something happen on the other side for when they get there.
Mhm.
Like we had Ambrosius, the Toad. I don't know what's in this. I can't remember. It's been a week since I've read this adventure, but just keep that in mind because that could be monotonous and boring.
Yeah.
Roll for damage. Roll for damage. Don't roll for attack. So I'll tell you right now, if something is stationary like a door or a trap door or whatever it is that has hit points, don't make them roll an attack roll. Just straight up roll damage because that would be even worse. You missed the door that doesn't move.
Yeah, that would. I'd get up and start doing dishes or something.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
But there is Dragonfire. So any attack on the door. Oh shit! Well, here we go. Here's the consequence. Or unsuccessful attempt to pick the lock triggers a fireball. Power level 2, damage 3d6. So this is really fucking hard to get through. If you don't have the key, every time you hit this and it's any attack on the door. Is it like, do you think that happens once or every single time?
Any attack.
Damn. Yeah, but I wonder if that's, fuck, you're right. I think you're right. That's wild.
Yeah. If you run it as written, any attack.
Yeah, any attack, meaning anytime you attack it, it's going to. So this could be a tough situation to be in as a GM with players who did not find the key.
Yep.
So,
and I kind of want to go back into the past where when we were doing the other one, the first adventure, and you know, we had talked about how people said, you know, Rittermount's not the good first one. This one is. I thought I remember saying the other one's good, but I think it's more deadly.
You're
with
right.
its traps and stuff. And I couldn't remember off the top of my head then, but yeah, this one's way more deadly than Rittermount is. I guess, you know, if this to you was a good first adventure, that's good. Good for you. But I just don't, the odds are really stacked against new players.
Yeah, because if you don't find the key, which it states here, if you're running it as written, you must succeed with a spot hidden to find the key, period. Yeah. Right? So, of course, you can bend that rule. But again, I try to run these more or less how they're written because I know this has been play tested numerous times, right? Yeah. So they did it for a reason. But even though there is an alternative way to get here, 3d6 fire damage, fuck.
Rittermount is dangerous. You could definitely have a TPK at Rittermount, but I think the one thing I want to stress here for why I think Rittermount is a better first adventure, when like, especially if you're introducing new people who haven't played Dragonbane yet to the game, or even people who haven't played tabletop role-playing games yet. Because Dragonbane's definitely good enough that I would be like, if someone's like, hey, I really want to try D&D and learn like about that, I'll be like, well, have you heard about Dragonbane? Let's try that. You know, you want to try this instead because it's a more fun game for me to run. This dungeon, you could get stuck. You could have people who don't know what Dragonbane is or don't even know what tabletop role-playing games are. If they don't find that key, they're like, well, what's the point of all this? And then they never want to play a tabletop role-playing game again or Dragonbane again. They'll think Dragonbane is like, oh, this is too hit or miss. You know, at least with Rittermount, even if you got a TPK, you can't really get stuck with Rittermount. You'll solve it. You'll find the statuette piece or the treasure and you'll get out or you'll die. So it's dangerous, but it's not going to end with a stalemate.
I did think of one other thing you could do on the rooftop with the Harpies.
Oh, I don't noticed that. That's nasty.
Well, what I mean is, I think it was it Matt? I think Matt or Dagwood anyway. But anyway, you could burn the rose bushes, right? So you could torch them because we already know that. Granted, it's got to be the players that think of this, but
Right.
one of my players did think of it to burn vegetation, and that because we know these roses are like giving off this toxic scent, the players may want to burn them. So that's one thing. Again, I wouldn't like hint at it, but hopefully they're clever enough. But that's totally player driven. That's not really GM advice. But I'm just I'm kind of constantly thinking of ways to get myself out of this puzzle, because I almost feel like people who agree that this is a great starting adventure, all of their players probably found the key. Because there's no way you're going to come down here. Let's say you break through that trap door, face this door that cannot be locked. That it's magic, or sorry, it cannot be lockpicked. And then, and every time you hit it, it shoots out fire. Like, are you kidding me? You need the key. I mean, you don't need it, but you need it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Does it describe the rose bushes as being, they're like alive, right? They're not dry.
Yeah, but you could like I think one time I ruled it took Matt longer. Yeah, I think he was burning. Maybe he was burning some of the vegetation that like Magnus created. I can't remember. But I mean, you could still burn them. It wouldn't burn like dead plants, of course, but that might be a way for you to suggest that they, maybe so for instance, maybe they do burn it and maybe it still requires a spot hidden, but you give them a boon because now it's glimmering in the sun. It's a metal key glimmering in the sunlight, right? So that's another option if they, again, this is on the players though, if they think of it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm the further we get in this adventure, I think I'm pushing back. I think a lot of people think adventures that have enemies that are easier to fight are better starting adventures. And they're not thinking about all the other stuff. Because I think your intuition was, before you reread it, was like, this is dangerous. Like maybe there's not as many enemies, but it's brutal. Like there's this freaking door that every time you hit it, it's going to spew out 3d6 damage. Yeah. Can't be picked. It's anyway. Yeah. It's I think we're both going to have to push back unless you get unless you're more forgiving than as written, finding the key at the top.
I mean, if I was running this and didn't realize it was going to be like that, I'd probably be more forgiving because like that's my mistake. If this was like their first adventure, right? Yeah. Not if it's like, they're 6-7 sessions in and they're finally finding this place.
Well, think of the iron door as an enemy, right? Yeah. Every time you hit it, it's going to hit back with 3D. So think of that as a monster attack. Granted, you can evade it, of course, but still, that's a lot. That's damning. That's a lot, yeah. And because if your evade is kind of low because you're a new player that doesn't have a lot of advancement points under their belt,
right?
It could destroy you.
Sure could.
Okay, well, I think that's the end of the door. Well, to the east, of course, is the CRYPT, which I'll pass off to you.
Yeah, I like how we spent a lot of damn time on the iron door, and it's like
it's like so short. It just, I think it cued like all of these as we were, because I read this last week, and so it's not super fresh in my brain. So like as we were progressing our way through the dungeon, we keep coming up with ideas like, hey, GM quiz, what would you do if this happened? And we've done that numerous times and kind of solved it. And then Free League throws the iron door in our face. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dragonfire, 100 HP. Holy shit. Yeah. Armor rating 20.
Yeah, like you're not good. Newbies, fresh characters. You could be a veteran player, but have a fresh character. You're probably not getting through that door.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to run simulation to just see if it's possible. Have take the 4 pre-made characters and see if they, just sit here at my desk all fucking day, because that's how long it would take, and just roll dice, roll damage. Do they get through this door alive?
Yeah.
Just to report. Maybe I'll do a live stream of that one day when I'm really bored. I'll just stream me checking to see if we can get through this damn door with fresh characters. But yes, so the last section of this adventure site is the crypt. A great circular hall lies before you. At its center stands a stone pedestal with a case at the top. Through the dust on the floor, you see a beautiful mosaic of 4 scenes divided into equal sizes. 2 of the scenes show magnificent dragons, and the other 2 show hideous monsters. There are 3 dark alcoves to the north, south, and east. So, first thing to note about this place is it is in total darkness. And if we look at the map, it shows you the 2 dragons facing each other and the 2 pretty much demons facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And those alcoves that have like statues, looking statue things in them.
Mm-hmm.
The mosaic. So, more details about the mosaic. The 4 parts of the floor mosaic are pressure plates. If the total weight placed on plates A and D, the demons, differ from that of B and C, the dragons, the mechanism is activated, and 2 rounds later, an undead guardian in the northern alcove wakes up and attacks. If the weight changes again without achieving balance between dragons and demons, another guardian wakes up. Let the players figure out how to balance the weight and reward their ingenuity. I was about to say integrity. One method is for 2 characters of roughly the same size, in your estimation, to step on the separate plates of different types at exactly the same time, which requires an acrobatics roll with a boon from both of them. So I read this, normally we don't read these parts out, but this is there's a lot to this. So I wanted to read it all out. Beginner dungeon, really? Are we really still
first and foremost, let me say this. I'm not a huge fan of puzzles like this. Because it's really like it's one of these. I think puzzles and RPGs are not a good idea unless you like playing. Some people do. They like playing like you're like a video game where your brain is the player's brain, basically, or the character's brain.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I like it when you're really RPing. It's called a role playing game. I feel like the more you're playing the character like you should. So this immediately is what's going to happen. Guaranteed. It always is with puzzles. Mm-hmm. The energy is going to stop. People will be talking around the table, figuring out like, okay, how do we do this? And it's going to turn into a very meta puzzle solving game. And that can be fun if your players like that. And I don't think it's inherently a terrible thing, but it kind of removes you from the fiction. And I think that's why it bothers me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not a fan of puzzles like this, pressure plate puzzles, match the tiles puzzles, press these at the same time puzzles. There's a lot of those in this campaign, unfortunately. But I know a lot of people love puzzles out there. So
earlier I joked and I said I hate puzzles. I wouldn't say I hate them, but I definitely don't like too many puzzles in a row type of deal. Like maybe every once in a while a puzzle here or there is kind of neat. You know what I do like? I like a riddle. But that's because I enjoy riddles. I bet there's people who can't stand a riddle in the middle of an adventure. But I enjoy them.
You're good at riddles.
I am good at riddles.
Yeah, I remember in the final, we'll talk about it when we get there, of course, in the Isle of Mist. But you were like nailing them right off the bat. I remember there are some riddles in there.
They were pretty easy.
Yeah,
riddles.
The demon that was trapped in like a ring of something, I think, or he was trapped in like a pentagram or something. But I'll say one thing about this puzzle is, it doesn't require you to solve it to get to the next thing, which
is true.
I'm okay. It's basically just triggering these guardians to come out and fight.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible. So I'll
Speaking of which, Oh, go ahead.
No. I'll just say I'll take it. I'll take some of it back.
Okay, that's fair. But speaking of which, you can't complete it without solving the puzzle. But every time you get it wrong, these undead guardians, they are mighty skeleton champions, and they were put there to guard Eladane's treasures forever. They are awakened by an imbalance of weight in the floor, or if someone tries to break down the iron door. Once awake, they raise their weapons with a rattle and fight until they are defeated or the player characters leave the tower. So imagine you've spent time forcing that door open, and as soon as you force it open, there are 3 skeleton champions ready to kick your ass after you've been hit by fireball after fireball.
Well, because you're going to trigger this right away, right? I mean, I'm assuming the second you walk into this room and step on one of those plates, it's going to go down. One of these guardians is going to appear, right? You don't have to be in the middle around the pedestal. Right. Or did I read it wrong?
No, you don't have to be in the middle.
Yeah, it just says on the plates A and D. I think that's maybe how I would change it. Honestly, like rather than the entire floor plate, I would center it around the pedestal so there would be a moment of calm right when you walk in. And maybe when you approach the pedestal, that's when these tiles are activated.
Yeah.
You know, then it would feel like you're walking into an ominous room. There's these knights, you know, in each alcove. It's quiet. It's pitch black. It'd be a good way to build up atmosphere. And then you hear a, you know, as you step forward.
Yeah, that would be cool. The undead guardians do have their own stat block. It's nothing to write home about.
Oh yeah, where are they? Are they on the next page?
They're on the bottom of this page.
Oh,
page 73.
There we go.
But they have 24 hit points. They have 4 armor. You know, and they're dealing 2d8 damage. They have double slash, defensive, robust × 4.
Yeah, they got heroic abilities. And
they have veteran, so they can, if they have a really good initiative, they could just keep it. Mm-hmm. They have 15 willpower. I think for those of you who suggested that this is the superior starting adventure, it's not that I think that you're dumb or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is, it's been a while since I read this too, and I think maybe it's been a while since you read it. Or maybe your GM kind of took it easy on you. Because if you ran this rules as written, you're getting messed up. This is a bad part of town.
Yeah. Not only combat, but trap wise, or I should say obstacle. There are plenty of ways, if you're sort of a new GM, that you're going to be probably like stopping your tracks, like, oh shit, what do I do now? Like they killed the troll. They don't have the key. There's a lot of things that if you're new to running games, I think it's going to be a problem. So,
and if you're new at playing games, this is just going to irritate the hell out of you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that's why Rittermound's great. It's a basic dungeon crawl with a boss at the end. That's it.
I know.
And you can leave whenever you want. I don't know. There's no door that's spitting out, you know, fire at you and has 100 HP. Plus, then when you get on the other side and immediately trigger one of these plates, a guardian comes out with freaking willpower points and, you know, chainmail. And it's just, I disagree.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's a bad time. Yeah. I appreciate a viewer's opinion always, but
this isn't just a viewer's opinion. This is like, I think the Dragonbane, official Dragonbane Discord server it's pretty much exactly what they're saying over there. So
yeah,
I don't know, guys.
Gluttons for punishment, I guess.
So yeah.
So in the center there's a pedestal. The wooden case on the pedestal is beautifully decorated with the symbols of the Dragon Empire. With a successful Myths and Legends roll, you can reveal the case. I there was a period there, and I disregarded it. I'm like, wow, this sentence isn't making sense because it's not two sentences. So let me redo that. The wooden case on the pedestal is beautifully decorated with the symbols of the Dragon Empire, which a successful Myth and Legends roll can reveal. So I guess if they don't do a Myths and Legends check, they just know it's beautiful, but they don't realize it's symbols of the Dragon Empire, I guess. The case is open and contains 2 large octagonal sapphires worth 50 gold 50 gold coins each. And the other valuables equivalent to 3 treasure cards. If you choose to place a piece of the dragon statuette in the troll spire, it is here as well. This is a little different. Just remembering the past few locations that had like a lot of treasure at the end. It was like one or the other. It was either the dragon statuette piece, and they were like, if you don't have the dragon statuette piece here, put X amount of treasure there instead. But this one's giving you both. So that's kind of, and as it should, because this one's hard as hell. It should be you get a lot of treasure and a statuette piece.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of gold, a lot of treasure cards for a quote unquote starting adventure. So.
It is, and you get a piece of the dragon statuette. I think it's well deserved reward for completing it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And then we have details about the iron door. Once the players have entered the crypt, the iron door slides shut and cannot be opened.
Yeah, here we go. More.
There is no keyhole on this side, and the door cannot be unlocked or opened with lock open, the spell. The door can be broken, but again, it has 100 HP and an armor rating of 20. So you have to do at least 21 damage to do any damage to it, right? That's what the armor rating is for, right? It reducts damage.
Yeah. So if you did like 21 damage, it's doing one damage. Yeah, you did one. Yeah.
But it takes time and wakes up all 3 skeleton champions.
But presumably they're dead by now, or they're gone. Like, right? I just, if you guys have run this, let me know. But like, I feel like this pressure plate thing, no one's going to figure it out. I think what's going to happen is you'll be trial and error, and then after 3 times, you've attacked all the guards, right? Do you remember how your players were with the puzzle?
My players figured it out really fast. When I showed them the map, because they were all at the doorway, right?
Okay.
And when I showed them the map, and they saw there was 2 dragons facing each other and 2 demons facing each other, they were like, okay, this is clearly, a thing. It's too ornate to just be the fucking ground. So they pondered it for a minute. And then it was one of those things where when they asked, okay, is this a puzzle where we have to distribute our weight evenly on certain pedestals? I was like, that's heading in the right direction. Yeah. And they're like, okay, do we have to make sure that we have the same weight on 2 of identical ones? I was like, yeah, like if they figured it out in real life.
Oh, you just gave it to them? Okay.
I mean, I didn't just give it to them. They figured it out, and I told them they were right.
I would have said, like, step on it. See what happens.
That's fair. Okay.
Well, again, I think if these tiles didn't encompass the entire freaking room, like, it's impossible to get from one end to the other to balance these out. It's basically impossible unless you have a spell or something to get over there to avoid at least triggering one night, right? The way it's illustrated.
It's not impossible because of the way that it was worded. So the way that it's worded is if the total weight placed on plates A and D, not just one, but both plates, differs from that of B and C, then it goes off.
I see. So if you have like somebody standing on A and somebody standing on C, and they're different weights, right? Then it's going to go off. Okay. I misread it then. So there is a little bit of a chance.
There is a little bit of a chance, yeah. But Not much of one.
That's what I'm saying. It's more likely than not that at least one of these figures is going to come to life.
Yeah. But it takes time. It'll wake up the skeleton champions. And this side of the iron door is adorned with a beautiful relief of stars and planets. At the top is the moon, and the bottom is an armored figure that looks like Eladane. If the player characters examine the relief closely or succeed with spot hidden, they notice an octagonal socket above the moon and below the Eladane figure. If the sapphires from the case are placed in the two sockets, they get stuck and the door slides open. The sapphires can only be removed once the iron door has been closed. So they lose those sapphires.
Yeah.
But they still get the 3 treasure cards.
Yeah.
And a dragon statuette piece. To get out of the crypt, the player character is greatly helped by recalling the rhyme, over the moon, under the ground, fall the stars. If the players cannot figure out how to get out, you can have Harga rescue them, unless they killed her.
Mm-hmm.
She can open the door from the other side with spell and dispel and lock/open. It is unintentional. Harga thinks the player characters are dead and comes to loot the crypt. She can also appear just as the player characters exit the crypt on their own. Harga may attack the player characters if they are badly wounded. Otherwise, she flees and vows revenge. Now, one thing that I have a little bit of an issue with is she's too afraid to go down there because she knows it's dangerous. It just doesn't really make that much sense to me that she's like waiting to send someone else down there to get killed by the dangerous things and then goes and gets the treasure. Because it's like, well, if they were killed, then the skeletal champions are still there and they're still a problem for you.
Yeah.
I just feel like that was like Disney Star Wars level of thinking ahead.
Yep.
But like, no, that just doesn't really make sense what you did there. I don't think Harga is going down there regardless because it just doesn't make sense. Why send someone else to die?
I mean, I guess she might like listen at the door to see if anybody's alive still. But like you said, then the skeletons would still be there, I guess. So
yeah, the skeletons would still be there.
Maybe they thought like everybody killed each other.
Maybe, but are you going to risk that?
Yeah, I know.
And then if the characters are still alive, she just runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely. But this is 100% the best starting location in the game. If you don't believe me, go to the Dragonbane's official Discord, learn about it there. Troll Spire. It's the best one.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'd love to hear in the comments if you guys have run this one, if you disagree with us, if we misread some things, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it seems like this is not an easy one. I think on the surface it feels like an easy one.
No, it's the best one, Jason. It's the best one. If you're starting a game of 5e D&D, start Troll Spire. If you're starting a game of Morkborg, start Troll Spire. It's the best starting location.
I always find it funny too when just rando players think they know better than the actual people who wrote the game and play tested the game.
Yeah.
Not to say that their opinions, discounted, of course. I mean, they ran it too, but usually and maybe they all kind of bumped heads together. Oh, I ran it, and it all went smoothly. But I don't know. We'll see, because that's how these things are, especially from slightly larger, not Hasbro level Wizards of the Coast style, but Free League's a decent enough company where I'm sure they ran these adventures numerous times and other people play them before they
called
them good. But ironically enough, next time we're going to talk about my starting adventure, the Deadeye's Cave, which I don't believe is recommended to be a good starting adventure anytime, but I'm not I didn't try to like push my players there, and if I remember correctly, it's been like a year or two, but I don't remember them having a terrible time with it. So
One of them did.
One of them did? It was Morning
One of
Cloak,
them
right?
did. It was Morning Cloak.
Yeah, he got jacked. So, which, but don't, yeah, again, I wouldn't try to steer players in the right direction because, or in the right, and I'm putting this in air quotes because part of the fun of these games is not winning every time. I think
Yeah.
like you learn as a player that, hey, I probably am not ready for this location. I mean, we've all played Dark Souls or Elden Ring, right? Like you'll go to a location, get your ass handed to you and be like, all right, I guess I got to go back there later. So think of it that way, where it's not like a linear progression. This is a very, very much a sandbox style campaign. So there is no right way, but yeah, so far, I mean, I still think Rittermount. I mean, I've ran Rittermount twice. One with pre-gens, one with other characters, and granted, the second time was not their first adventure. I think it was a little bit later in the game, but I think it's a solid little dungeon crawl.
It is, yeah. Like jokes aside, it is a good adventure site. It could be a good starting adventure for like people who really know role playing games. I would not say this is a good one for people who have never tried a role playing game before. Like, don't.
That's a good way to think about it too. I often don't think about that because I know you run games for a lot of people who are new.
Yeah.
I don't. I run for you guys exclusively. And so you guys have all played games for years, so you get it. So that's another thing as a GM too. If you're playing with a new group, think of it from that POV. Is that how new are they to role-playing games?
Yeah.
And how new are they to Dragonbane? Because Dragonbane plays differently. I think on the surface, it feels like a 5e game.
Right.
But then you realize, wait a minute, my HP is only ever my con? What?
Yeah.
You kidding me? So yeah, monsters always hit. What?
Yeah.
You know, clearly it's more deadly. So
sometimes I still like, I've ran this game a lot. I've played this game a lot. And every now and then I'll have a shocked Pikachu face when I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Fucking monsters just hit. But I don't get to try to survive.
I know. This. I remember there was a time when we played, you guys were in the chasm of caves and you had already used your action.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, the hobgoblin, he hits you or whatever. Like, oh, I don't get a dodge. And I was like, no, you've used your action. You're like, oh shit, you're right. I forgot about that. So sometimes you forget about those little things.
Forget about it. Especially when it's tense. Like when you're into the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, in a way, it felt immersive because it was like, as a player, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't use my action. But then I thought about it from like Gwydion's perspective, where it's like, I really need to move, but I can't. I'm stuck. Like I was like, damn, this is tense. I don't want to die here.
Yeah.
And Gwydion probably should have died, but his con being so high keeps him alive. He just can't be killed. He is also Ambrosius.
Yeah.
Because for you Greek nerds out there, it's ancient Greek for immortal.
Oh, there you go. Maybe because Ambrosius plays dead. So people end up walking away.
No.
All right. Well, that brings us to the very end of the Troll Spire. Let us know down below if you guys have run it. Any thoughts, any disagreements? We'd love to hear it as always. And I think we're back to our feature film length episode because we're clocking in right now an hour and a half. So
yeah,
we did it. We made it. We're back.
13th Warrior. Instead.
You could have watched 13th Warrior, man. So anyway, you guys, thanks for hanging out with us. And we'll see you in the next video with Deadeye's Cave.